let's go. The Oklahoma Sooners just landed the 5-star interior defensive lineman, David Stone. Is this real life or is this just a fantasy? To quote, who is it? Queen, I guess. I don't know. I don't listen to a whole lot of Queen, but the Oklahoma Sooners have landed the 5-star interior defensive lineman, and this is a historic day. Can we call it historic in Oklahoma Sooners recruiting? Because where the curse was there of David Hicks, Williams Winery, Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, you had Lebius Overton, all of those 5-star defensive linemen ended up passing on the University of Oklahoma. But in last cycle, you got the 5-star consensus edge rusher, a 5-star plus edge rusher, and PJ Adebayor, who, by the way, looks like a mean dude right now if you've seen pictures of him since he's been on campus. And then now the 5-star plus interior defensive line, the number 6 overall player in the 247 composite rankings, and the number 2 overall defensive lineman in this class, David Stone. Oklahoma appears to be going in the right direction. And I want to say appears because we still need to see what the product looks like on the field for the defense this year. You might not have 5 stars on the field to play for you outside of PJ Adebayor, but this defense should still be really put together, and it should still play really well. I mean, a lot better than it did last year, because apparently you have fixed your depth issues. But guys, this is extremely big for many reasons. One, because we talked about it earlier in the week. If you lose David Stone, this is one of the biggest recruiting blunders probably in Oklahoma history, because this is a guy that's from Oklahoma City. This is a guy that grew up loving the Oklahoma Sooners. And he told you he's tried to commit to Oklahoma more than once. And regardless of who it was, I know he said it was his mom. People believe it was his mom. Tried to get him to not commit to Oklahoma, which shows you David Stone wants to take the Sooners in that next direction. He wants to make Oklahoma football and Oklahoma defense great again. And the impact of getting David Stone is going to be more than just, we got a 5-star interior defensive lineman. He's going to bring guys with him. He's going to get other guys to turn their heads and say, wait, how in the world did Oklahoma get a 5-star interior defensive lineman? We haven't seen them do that since Gerald McCoy. I don't know if that's the last 5-star interior defensive lineman that we got, but I'm just throwing a guy's name out there. We haven't seen it since then, at least this high profile of a guy. And so you look at it and you just go, okay. So you started to see the future cast and the crystal balls roll in. I believe you saw Wisconsin insider John McNamara. You saw Corey Robinson, the Michigan State insider, put it in favor of Oklahoma. You saw Texas A&M insider Mark Passwaters. And then you saw the infamous Clint Cosgrove submit his future cast in favor of Oklahoma. And you said, okay, so Oklahoma appears to be gaining traction, but the drama is over. We don't have to sit here and wonder, is David Stone going to commit? Well, what's up with this tweet? Because, I mean, let's be honest, y'all were freaking out over the tweets. But it seemed like consensus across the industry, you saw this is where David Stone wanted to go. You saw Steve Wiltfong, who put his crystal ball in 2022 of March. You saw Adam Ivins do the same thing. July of 2022. You saw Drum in February of 2022. All of them submitted predictions in favor of Oklahoma. And although we've had to ride the highs, we've had to ride the lows in this recruitment, because David Stone's been everywhere. He's visited everywhere. Oklahoma still got 14 visits during his recruiting cycle. And you know he's probably been to Oklahoma a lot more than that, probably 25, 30 times. Because, well, this is his home state. You would imagine that he was here. So the Oklahoma Sooners finally break the curse. So what are they getting in David Stone? They're getting a guy that is explosive off that line. He's able to get into the backfield, cause havoc. He's good with his hands. And as he is at IMG Academy, you're going to continue to see David Stone progress, because he's going up against the best of the best, whether it's on the field every week in those games or in practice. And I say in practice because one of the guys that just announced Oklahoma in terms of an official visit list was Jordan Seaton, the 4-star inside offensive lineman, a guy that potentially could jump into 5-star status by the end of this cycle. He has to go up against David Stone every single week or every single day in practice. Who's to say now that David Stone's not here, he and Jaden Jackson can't get in Jordan Seaton's ear and say, hey, we want you to come to Oklahoma, play on the opposite side of the ball on us, be a leader over there, and help be a recruiter over there. Same thing with Jordan Johnson Rubel. And I know I have some Texas fans that watch this and they might not like this take, but Jordan Johnson Rubel could flip from Texas to Oklahoma. That's a very reality. The only reason why he didn't give Oklahoma the time of day was because, well, Oklahoma's defense is bad. So Oklahoma goes out there, puts together a better defense. They're recruiting at a high level. Maybe they can get in Jordan Johnson Rubel's ear and say, hey, we want you to come play with us on the defense and help anchor down that secondary. Because you got Reggie Pearson. You have Billy Bowman, potentially. You have Key Lawrence, Woody Washington, all those guys leaving. So there's going to be opportunity for a guy like that to come in and play. But ultimately, Oklahoma lands the 5-star defensive lineman, and people are asking, what's next? Because if you're Oklahoma, you now have a composite score of 260. And you're looking pretty good. So the question is, at a 260.93 composite score, being the number 11th overall ranked class, right behind Penn State, who's number 10, how does Oklahoma get into the top 5? There's a clear path. First off, you got to take care of the recruits that you got to take care of. Meaning, you have to land Grant Bricks. Grant Bricks on the offensive line is like landing David Stone on the defensive line. You have to land Daniel Akinkumi, at least Daniel Akinkumi. If you land Jordan Seaton, all the better. But Daniel Akinkumi, I think you should land. A guy that hasn't played football for that long, has a lot of potential, a guy everybody should be excited about. When you look at the secondary, you've got Devin Jordan out of Union. Although Alabama seems to be trending in that direction, if Oklahoma can close out on him, you're looking pretty good and you're feeling pretty good. Additionally, you need to land Michael Boganowski, right? You need to get that safety in there because, well, with you losing that many safeties, you'd feel better if you got 2 in this class or 3 in this class. So you need to land Michael Boganowski. And then we turn to the defensive line. I already feel you're going to get Nigel Smith. It feels like that recruitment's already wrapped up from what he has said publicly. If that's the case, if Oklahoma's landing him and they get Daniel Okoye and you take care of business in the state of Oklahoma, that gives you 28 commits at a 280.98 composite score. That's probably good enough to get you at number 6 or at least get you in the top 5. Now, the question is, there are 2 5-star defensive linemen that Oklahoma's in the chase for. You got Williams Nwaneri, who's probably the most likely out of the 2. You flip him from Missouri. Or Dominic McKinley, who you're in a battle with Texas, but you've got to be able to outlast Texas NIL efforts. And this isn't because Oklahoma doesn't have a good NIL program. Texas just has the boosters to make the best NIL program in the country. That's what this is. And so let's say you land a Williams Nwaneri. That gets you up to the 289.62, and that's without anybody else moving in the composite rankings. So let's say you move some of your 3-stars up to 4-star status, half of them. You're probably looking at a 295 composite score. That gets Oklahoma definitely in the top 3 or top 5. Could get them in the top 3. So Oklahoma's got a path to get there. Now we just got to sip the hopium and really say, hey, we got David Stone. Now we got to rely on his back to go out there and help us finish strong in this class. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You got a 5-star interior defensive lineman. You're really trying to recruit the defensive side of the ball really well. Your offensive side's almost done. David Stone should be able to go out there and really help capture this class and get it well-rounded and together. You don't get Devin Jordan from Alabama, then you go after a guy like Xavier Filsaime or go after a Aaron Flowers who committed to Oregon. Those are guys that Oklahoma was in at one point. Try to flip those guys. Try to flip a Jordan Johnson Rubel. Go after one of them. Why not? So ultimately, at the end of the day, David Stone's recruitment, big time for the University of Oklahoma. Big time. Oklahoma fans should be excited about the future of Oklahoma football here. But guys, I want to hear from you. Go ahead, jump down in the comments below, and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Because This is one you guys have been waiting on. It's one you guys have been wanting, and I'm excited to hear from you. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button. Jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are.